Valguero Ascended has officially launched, and it's brought a ton of new changes to one of ARK's most iconic maps. From updated environments to brand new mechanics, this version feels completely refreshed. So today, we're breaking down the top 30 best new features you need to know about on Valguero Ascended. First up, we got the Elderclaw. This is one of the new dinos that was added with Valguero, and it is the new paid dino. Now yes, it is a little bit of a controversial one, but in my opinion, out of all of the other paid dinos that ARK has had with the Fantastic Teams, just genre, the Elderclaw is actually one of the best ones in my honest opinion. And that's because he can do many different attacks, and overall, he's not too overpowered. So first up, you got your little melee, then you got your lunge, which just allows him to kind of jump. Root burst kind of sends a root area at some dinos. It will basically entrap dinos in, just a root for a couple seconds. It's okay, but it's not that useful. Holding left control and C will turn on the bark shield on him, which is pretty cool. It's just kind of an extra shield that helps him to, take a little bit less damage. Then you have a totem, which the totem, I can't really explain the entire thing in this video, but it basically allows him to build up a charge in here and turn into basically the size of a mammoth. So he's about the size of, a smaller dino right now, a little bit bigger than the dire bear. Well, yeah, he can transform into the size of a mammoth and do a significant amount of damage for about a minute. It's pretty overpowered what this guy can do. Then you have your other ability, which can detonate your totem. And yeah, that's about it for him. He can also give resources. I'm not entirely sure how this works yet. I'm still trying to figure it out, but you have your Blossom Corpse resource in here that you can adjust a resource for. But yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how to get that to function. It doesn't seem to want to be functioning right now for some reason. It might be broken, or I might just be uninformed about it. But yeah, this guy is definitely one of the best dinos in my opinion that they added, at least for a paid dino. Yes, the Pyromane is still technically better. For a paid dino, he's actually kind of worth the money. I mean, he's pretty cool looking. He has some cool, helpful abilities, but he's just not too overpowered. Next up, we have ARK's other newest dino, which is the Megaaptor. Now this is the first new dino that can actually walk sideways. So by holding A or D on your keyboard, you don't need to hold anything else, he can actually walk sideways. Pretty insane for a new dino. I mean, we've never had anything like this guy. And you're able to also do it while you're like going backwards and kind of like straddle in a way. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool what they've done with this guy. Now he's not the fastest dino or the strongest, but he does have some pretty cool abilities. First up, you got your basic melee ability. You have R, which is the finisher, which basically, I have not really figured that out fully yet, but I imagine it's basically when a dino's health is low, you can finish him off with that, and it does some kind of ability. But when you hit spacebar and then you press it a second time, he actually has the ability to do a double jump, which is pretty cool. First dino, I believe, in ARK that has this ability for a double jump. And it sounds kind of useless at first, but when you realize it, I mean, you can jump basically the size of this tree right here. So if you need to get up on that little cliff that you just barely missed, well, you have a double jump ability, which is very overpowered. Now, if you hold down right and left click, you basically have a toggle hunt ability, which I'm already technically in hunt. So let me toggle camo for you. So here's camo. It is it is right click and C. You just hold that down. And then as you can see, now he is in that mode, and it basically does not turn when you have it. I'm not entirely sure what camo does, to be honest with you. I'm still trying to figure that one out as well. This is the one dino I haven't really experienced too much with, but I will be making a separate video basically teaching you guys everything that you need to know about him once I figure out everything. Now, another cool ability that he has is a dive pounce in midair. So actually, yeah, here's one right here. So you can dive pounce on dinos. So basically when you're in midair and you hit C, you have to be aimed at the dino. Yeah, okay, hold on. It's on a cooldown right now. But yeah, it'll basically dive bomb a dino from midair. It's pretty insane, actually. I mean, this dino has some very, very unique abilities I'd never even thought that we would see. Oh, he also has a blind ability, which, as you can see, the enemy one is doing on me. And he was blinding me there, and then I couldn't really see him. But yeah, let's do the pounce again. So you can dive bomb. As you can see, it hits him like that. See if I can do. Yep. Okay, so that was the finisher ability that you saw there. It actually did show that. That was pretty cool. But you got your double jump, then you have C, which is a roar. And yeah, that's about it for him. Now he does have a camo which kind of turns him a little bit invisible, I believe. I haven't figured out that entirely, but yeah, I'm definitely going to experiment more with this guy. But those are your two brand new dinos that you need to get on this map. They're pretty insane. Then we have this new boss fight, which is Grendel, I believe his name is, or her name, I'm not entirely sure. But this is the new boss fight that is with Valguero. And this thing's pretty brutal. I'm not going to explain too much about it, but yeah, seeing a hanging Rex up above you should tell you what this fight is. It's a bit of a terrifying fight, and yeah, he's basically a bigger version of this guy, of the Megaaptor, and he has some pretty cool abilities that he does. I'm not going to entirely spoil it for you guys, because I know a lot of players are going to want to just experience it on their own. I'll be making a separate video on how to do it, of course, but oh, he seems to be a little bugged out. So yeah, he can jump up above you and basically turn completely invisible, and then he'll try to beam you. And well, I mean, it's kind of obvious that he's coming as long as you just kind of know what you're doing for the most part. It's not a horrible fight to do, but you're practically invisible for the majority of the fight. So it is a bit of a pain, but definitely a pretty fun fight to do if you know what you're doing. I don't know exactly what are the best dinos to use yet for this fight. Only time's going to tell for that one. But yeah, here's what the arena looks like after, you know, you open up all the totems and stuff and you actually are able to see. Pretty cool looking arena, but also pretty small. And well, yeah, like I said, I'm not entirely sure how to kill this guy yet. There's going to be videos on it soon. I'll try to figure out a good way to kill him, but it seems like the Megaaptors are actually kind of a good thing for that. Now, before we keep diving through Valguero's caves and new features, you're going to need something to keep your energy up. And no, I'm not talking about stem berries. I'm talking about today's sponsor, Mitra 9. Mitra 9 is a non-alcoholic supplement that quite literally makes you feel good. These drinks give you a high, but without the impairment. They have a ton of great flavors, my favorite being root beer. If you're looking for a new drink to replace your coffee in the morning, Mitra is the way to go. Simply go to mitra9.com and use my code OUTCAST for 25% off your entire order. Now, back to the video. Up next, we have kind of a different type of new feature in this video. We went from kind of all the new stuff to just some other cool features that this map has. So most other maps on ARK don't really have the Rhyniognatha, like we got it on the island, the center, a couple other maps, but not every map has it. Well, a lot of people were thinking that the Rhyniognatha wasn't going to come with Valguero, and well, guess what? It actually does. So Valguero Swamp is not too vast, it's not a massive area, but shockingly, we actually get the Rhyniognatha with this map, which is a pretty cool little feature. Over by Rhyniognatha, this can be found at 52.5 latitude and 73.7 longitude. We have this new little castle area in the middle of this like lake, I guess if you call it. But yeah, it can be found directly by Rhyniognatha. This used to be like the beaver dam area where you could just find beaver dams. It wasn't, you know, really anything too crazy. And well, they actually added this cool little castle feature right here. So when you come over here, here's your main area up here. You basically just walk across your little bridge, got some ruins in it as well. So it's nothing like too crazy. But it's just a nice little PvE area if you're looking just to build a base somewhere and all the other spots are taken. You might want to go check out this one. And considering that you're right by Rhyniognatha, it's pretty easy to, you know, just transfer in and out or do your boss fights. Just a nice little castle for you to go visit. At 49.1 latitude and 63.5 longitude, you have these little oil areas over here. Now, yes, oil is kind of all over the map, but for the most part, it's just really scattered around. You only see, you know, one or two every once in a while. Well, on this location, there is 4 main oil veins. So you can put down all your oil pumps and you can basically farm 4 times the amount that you normally would, and just basically, you know, just one location. Now, if you're looking to farm a lot of oil, I would highly recommend coming over here. It's pretty easy to spot. Just look for this little area with, you know, a bridge that's connecting. There's Rhyniognatha for reference. But yeah, it is a pretty cool little location. I figured I would just kind of toss it on this list. At 34.6 latitude and 21.0 longitude, you have another one of these little castle areas. Now this one can be found pretty close to the snow. It's basically coming out from the little canyons area, or well, the tundra biome, and going into the snow. So it's got a really cool little orange filter around it with some snow in it. Makes for a pretty great location just aesthetically wise. But yeah, here's your entrance. Is the same size as a dino gate, so you can put a dino gate straight on that, by the way. And then you have a pretty good sized courtyard in here with a good amount of room just to kind of build a base. Now up here, you got yourself a little house with some dire bears, some people ride in them. You got yourself a dire wolf right here. It is a really cool little aesthetic that a lot of players have really overlooked. But inside, you have a pretty significant amount of room for your base to fit. Definitely a PvE spot though. I would not recommend it for like a PvP one. But yeah, I would say Valguero has a significant amount of these PvE locations, making for honestly one of the best maps for just building in general. There's a lot of very unique little areas. You also got these little side rooms in here. But yeah, if you're looking for a nice little base to build, I would highly recommend this one. At 33.8 latitude and 9.8 longitude, you have this cave over here, which is like the triple waterfall cave. Now, I'm not really covering this cave, but I'm covering what's in this cave. So you have your little base area over here, right? But you got these 2 little water entrances, and this used to be the entrance to the main underworld area. But from exploring for a little bit, it's not really fully the same kind of underwater area anymore. It's more just of a giant underwater cave now. Now, it is a little tricky to see in here, but for the most part, it doesn't expand into a massive underwater zone anymore. This is more of just a massive cave with a couple different entrances in it. So if you're looking to build underwater, I honestly would not put this over your head, as there is a significant amount of room, only about 2 to 3 different entrances so far that I could find. And yeah, it might actually make for a pretty good location considering it goes all the way back in here. And while there's no entrances back in here, it just kind of ends in the back here. So you have all this room, basically just defend yourself. I don't think there's another entrance in here, but I could be wrong. At 53.2 latitude and 38.6 longitude, you have another one of these nice little castle areas, except this one actually isn't really just complete shambles like most of the other ones. So you first have these new little islands that are new over here, along with this pretty nice sized bridge that leads you up into your entrance. Kind of skip ahead here for a little bit. But then you have your main entrance that leads you into this little courtyard, and well, it's a significant sized courtyard, I'm not gonna lie. But you have your main castle up here, and for the most part, there's really not too many ruins on this. I mean, it's pretty well kept together. So if you're looking for, one of these little castles that isn't, just fully trashed already, because how most ruins are in Ark, they're all kind of messed up. This one's pretty good for you for the most part. You have a lot of room to just kind of expand above here. This is your full area around here. You also have a nice little area with a dock down here, so you can like park some ships or something if you got certain mods. It genuinely makes for one of the best PvE locations in my opinion on Ark. I mean, it is pretty significant looking. You also have this nice little island out here with some little aesthetics. You got your trees, so you can do a little, some farming and stuff. It does make for one of the most unique spots in Ark in my honest opinion. Next up, we have lots of more aberration dinos. So if you don't know, Valguero has a full aberration zone, and this aberration zone back in the day was kind of okay. It was pretty nice looking, but it just didn't feel like aberration. It really felt like it was missing some stuff. Well, they decided to go ahead and add almost every dino from aberration onto this map. So we now have Reapers, we now have Nameless, which actually will hunt you down normally, like how aberration is supposed to be. That's probably the biggest change is with those Nameless. But yeah, now you will actually just be attacked randomly by Nameless when you're exploring the deeper zones. It's a pretty cool feature, but they added Basilisk, Carcinos. I believe Carcinos were already in here. But you got most of your aberration dinos. Not all of them, but most of them. Then we have the new rock golems. If you don't know, Valguero is the first map officially for Ark that introduced new types of rock golems. And then we're going to have it with Genesis 1 and then Genesis 2. I believe it was just Genesis 1 though. I could be wrong. But anyways, with Valguero, this introduces the new chalk golem and the new snow golem. Then we're going to get the lava golem eventually with Genesis, but that's in the future. But yeah, so this is what your chalk golem looks like. These can be found over in the chalk hills. They're kind of, they look almost the same as regular rock golems. They just have that kind of chalky texture on them. And then here is the snow golem, which actually has a snow effect to them. So if you're looking to tame some other types of rock golems from just the boring regular rock ones, well, you now have different variants. That is one thing about Valguero that I actually really liked a lot, is that they introduced new types of golems. And I'm exceptionally hyped for, the lava golems, the X golems, all that stuff that's going to be coming out in the future maps. But yeah, these are some pretty cool things. Definitely don't overlook them, but they don't do anything crazy. They're literally just reskinned rock golems. Now, while this technically isn't new, I had to put it in this video to just kind of show a remembrance for, the fallen player for Valguero. If you don't know, there was a guy and he passed away and his favorite map was Valguero, I believe. And it just says, for those who have ascended. Ark put a little memorial here for him. It's a really cool little feature that they have. If you ever want to come visit it, here are the coordinates on the map. 34.6 latitude and 88.9 longitude. Now you can show a little bit of respect for this fallen player, or you can find it under the blossom tree around, all of this area. But yeah, gotta give it to Ark. They did a great job with this, and I'm very happy that they kept it in this map because, it's just kind of a very important thing. At 82.7 latitude and 80.7 longitude, you have this brand new cave. Now, back whenever Valguero first released on ASE, you just had this little overpass, little cliff thing here, because this was one of the spawn zones. Now, you could spawn under here, you're like, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Well, Ark went ahead and implemented a full cave back here. Now, for PvP, it's not the best because you have 2 different entrances, but also at the same time, it's not horrible because you have this main area that you can defend right here. But you have a significantly sized cave in here. I mean, look at all the room that you got. You got a lot of flat room. Here, I'll get down on the ground just to show you how massive that this cave really is. But you do also have this little lake here in the center. Now, this doesn't really go anywhere. It's just kind of a little pool in here for you to kind of mess around with, or just have a nice little water source for your base. But you got some crystals, trees, rocks, some really, really nice lighting as well. But for the most part, it's not a bad cave. I just wish that they got rid of this little side entrance. It would have made this cave pretty overpowered. Then we have just a lot more resources in the Aberrant Zone. The Aberrant Zone was already pretty covered in resources, but it didn't have a lot of stuff. Like now you have the organic polymer flowers, you have a lot more metal down here because, you know, it's an aberration zone. It should have a lot of metal, and it was lacking metal, but has a lot more metal down in here now. Got a lot of those of the fungal trees to farm, and overall it's just much better for just farming resources. I'm very happy that they actually took time and focused on this area, because the Aberrant Zone definitely was lacking a good amount of stuff, and it is significantly better now. At 46.4 latitude and 59.4 longitude in the Aberrant Zone, they've actually redone this area a good bit. Yes, it still looks a little similar, but for the most part, the Rock Drake area has been redone quite a bit. I mean, if you look at the ceiling, they are covered in these red crystals. They really liked crystals in this update, we know that for sure. But they added a lot of just areas in here and really made it pop a lot more than it really did. So on Valguero, it was like, it was okay. They also added a lot of red drops too. I've been noticing there is a good chunk of red drops in here, so it might actually be worth farming in here. But yeah, just a quick little, you know, overview of this area, because I think that the Rock Drake Den does look significantly better. At 76.8 latitude and 49.0 longitude, we have this new castle here as well. Now there are a good amount of these on the map, but this one I kind of had to toss on this list. This is just a pretty cool looking one. But you have your main entrance over here. It's a little tiny bridge. It's just like a little skinny bridge. You can't really fit too many dinos up here. But you can walk up the path around here. Oh, okay, maybe not. But you can walk up the path around here, and you have like a little moat around this area, which kind of is pretty cool. Now by moat, I just mean cliff. But you get what I mean. It has that same kind of style. So when you get up to your main entrance, though, and you come inside, you have a lot of room. It's kind of a cool base, in my opinion. It would make a phenomenal base spot on PvE. I don't really play PvE though, but like if I was gonna play PvE, I think this would make probably one of the best spots on this map, because, you know, if you're not a bigger tribe, it kind of works for you. You got a lot of these just little hidden rooms in here. I'm not gonna show everything in this video, of course, but, you know, I'll show you a couple little areas for the most part. And you can get yourself up on the roof over here, and I mean, you could build crazy PvE bases. I don't know what PvE players do for the most part, other than maybe like roleplay or something. But if I had to pick a good roleplay area, I think this kind of gets it for me. Up next, we have the new baby flyer dinos. But with this update, it basically added a bunch of new baby flyers that spawn naturally with, you know, their mothers. So for example, if you see a Quetz, you're going to see a baby Quetz now with it. If you see a Tapajara, you're going to see a baby Tapajara now with it. But the list of dinos that they have added is quite significant. So you have the Argentavis, the Dimorphodon, Gasbags, Griffin, Ichthyornis, the Lymantria, Pelagornis, Pteranodon, Quetzal, Snow Owl, Tapajara, Vulture, Maguna, Managarmer, the Yeeling, and the Hesperornis are all of the new dinos that now have babies with them. Quite a bit of them, so now instead of, you know, having to tame them naturally, you can just kill their mothers and take their babies and raise them, and that's a good way to tame them too. So yeah, sounds a little messed up, but yeah, that's kind of ARK. Then we got the Dinosuchus area, and this area actually got a bit of a revamp as well, but this is technically a new feature to ARK, so I'll kind of put it in here. Now yes, these were on Valguero, you know, on Evolved, but I just figured I would kind of cover Unascended because they still do play a pretty good and important, you know, part of this map, considering they were the new dino back in the day for Valguero. But yeah, you can usually find their nests over in the chalk hills, usually within these little like ravine areas. You can find them for the most part, and just a little heads up, wherever they spawn, a lot of metal spawns as well. So if you're looking to get a good chunk of metal, the main golden nodes are always in these little like ravine areas. But to get yourself one of these dinos, you just go and walk up to their nest, take their egg, and run away. It is literally the easiest thing in the world to do. So I would highly recommend doing that. Just be careful, as these guys can attach to your dinos and they shred pretty quickly, so kind of watch for them. The tundra biome got a massive revamp, and when I mean massive, yeah, you can look at the difference here. Just look how massive that this area is. They actually made it a lot bigger as well. But just look at the colors, the coloration with the snow fading into the tundra regions. I mean, it looks just absolutely beautiful. I think ARK did a phenomenal job with this zone, other than butchering one of my favorite caves, of course. But yeah, they did a phenomenal job with this area. They added a lot of just new details as well, some new little hidden Easter eggs and stuff, which I'll probably make a video on that here eventually. It went from being this kind of dull grayish color to actually pretty insanely orange and it pops well. And for it being so orange, this looks pretty good, I won't lie. You know, at first I was like, I don't know, but after kind of playing with it for a little bit, it's definitely worth the hype. The revamp of this location just is insanely different. Then we just have the new trees and new foliage. Valguero did add a good amount of just new styled trees and stuff with the map, and I believe these were technically already in the game, so there might be just kind of recycled. But, I mean, it has a lot of these just random cool blossom trees. This is like one of the aberrant styled trees, I think. It looks straight out of Avatar with the hanging roots and stuff that are coming down. I like it a lot, but there's a lot of these just hidden little gems around the map that you can find. Just kind of fly around and you'll find them. This is one of the biggest ones though, and I believe it's a redwood. You can harvest it? You can harvest this tree? What? Whoa. Okay, that I don't know why. That just threw me off guard a little bit. I was not expecting you to harvest this thing. I think ARK messed up there. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to be able to harvest that at all. Well, okay. I guess you can harvest this tree, which is pretty cool, but that just threw me completely off guard. Well, I guess if you want to harvest that tree, I guess you can go for it. But yeah, there's a lot more of these kind of trees hidden around the map. You just got to find them. I'm not going to show every one of them in this video, of course, but there's a lot in the aberrant zone as well. So just kind of go explore and you can find a good amount of them. And there are a couple little hidden Easter eggs. I'm not going to spoil that just yet, but you can find them everywhere. At 79.5 latitude and 67.2 longitude, you have this new area. Now this technically was in old Valguero, but they revamped this area a good bit. So this was the just hole in the ground or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the name for this thing was. It was one of the spawn zones in Valguero that tricked a lot of players into like not knowing how to get out of here. But a lot of people did spawn in. They're like, how do you get out of this area? And a lot of new players to ARK are probably going to be doing that same thing right now. But yeah, there's this little cave system over here that basically allows you to get out of this area. It's pretty cool, but they really added a lot of stuff to this. Like they added a lot of these little red flower vines. They added a red water around here, which is definitely interesting. I did not expect that. Added a lot of these nice little purple crystals. Got a lot of blossom trees as well. They really beefed up this area a good bit, and they added a lot of overhanging spikes that are hanging over significantly more than the last ones were. But yeah, it's just a cool little area that just kind of doesn't really have a backstory. It's just kind of there and makes everybody question, you know, what is this? Then we have the Chalk Hills. The Chalk Hills got a major revamp to just how it looks, new areas, how everything runs, and it just actually looks significantly better. So they added this little effect around most of the terrain where it's kind of like the white chalks around the grass, and I think it blends beautifully. It looks pretty phenomenal in my opinion. You have a lot more room and a lot more flat room as well. They did flatten out a good chunk of the area. Like you had the massive flat zone over here that spans, you know, this whole thing. They kept that thankfully, but they just added a lot more. They added a lot more crystals too, so you don't have to go farm crystals on the opposite side of the map. So you can actually farm some here. There were a little bit, but they added a lot more. Now they beefed this area up like I just talked about. That looks beautiful, but they added a brand new cave for us, so we now have 2 caves in the Chalk Hills. This little waterfall area looks pretty great. I mean, they added a couple more extra waterfalls here, but it blends beautifully. It looks amazing. I really like what they did with the Chalk Hills, and I believe that is one of the biggest differences other than the tundra. The tundra is still better. That beats that for me. The second best biome is this one right here. It's just, oh, I don't know what it is about the Chalk Hills. It always gets me as probably one of the best biomes in ARK. At 45.3 latitude and 39.8 longitude, you have this brand new area over here. Now, it is a little hard to see because it's covered in massive trees, so you're probably not going to spot it just like this. There's going to be a lot of trees that you're going to have to go take down to find it. But this area can be found over here just for reference. And I don't know what this area was to me. It just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of said something. It's just like really popped out at me, and I like it a lot. It's a wyvern-styled kind of area with a bunch of different waterfalls, and it doesn't really serve any purpose, at least from what I know. It's just a really aesthetically pleasing spot to look at. Oh, wait a minute. We got a cave in here. Oh, that's right. Never mind. Yeah, I completely forgot. There's a little tiny like hidden cave in here, which I didn't even include in the cave video, just to be clear. So if you're looking for a little spot to build, might go check that out. But yeah, it's just a lot of cool little waterfalls here that kind of just blend into the environment very well. I don't know what it was about it. It just kind of spoke to me, so I was like, I'll put it in the video. You know, why not? At 48.7 latitude and 19.9 longitude is the new version of Oil Cave. Now, they completely butchered this cave, and I had to put it on this list just to show you guys what they did to this poor, just beautiful cave. So, on the exterior, they didn't change too much other than this giant pillar over here, which kind of blocks turrets and stuff if you're building PvP. PvE doesn't really matter. But yeah, having this here does kind of downgrade this area a good bit, and the entrance got a insane downgrade. I mean, look at the freaking size of this thing. They just completely butchered Oil Cave. Just my poor baby got butchered. But yeah, I don't think the devs truly know what PvP players want. And I think that's kind of what's killing the PvP side of this game, is because I feel like they're intentionally doing this on purpose, which kind of sucks. But, I mean, it's whatever. Oil Cave, for the most part, in here looks identical. They still had this weird looking blip rock in the middle that I wish was gone. But for the most part, I mean, it's pretty much the exact same layout. I don't really see anything too different here. The oil does look really good, though. Look how detailed that they made the oil. It actually looks like true oil water, which is pretty cool. So they actually spent a good amount of time on that to make that look and just work properly. They added a little bit of these like snow effects in here as well, so it fades with the tundra, like kind of how it does outside. I think I just found, nope, that's not a rat hole. But yeah, definitely a good revamp. I like the cave. I just hate the entrance. The entrance just really killed this cave, and it's just, that's the one cave I was hoping that they would have kept the same, and of course they had to change it. At 40.6 latitude and 66.9 longitude, you have this little Coliseum right here. Now this Coliseum is a brand new item onto the map. I don't believe there was anything really sitting here. It is very unique looking though. It is very different than most of the other kind of Coliseums, as it's completely ruined. You know, the other Coliseum that we have is the one on Scorched Earth, but that one is much bigger and kind of cooler in my opinion. But for Valguero to get their own version of like a little Coliseum area, it is pretty cool. You have, oh look at their little baby raptor. I don't even see him. That's kind of funny. What's he doing here? But yeah, you have a lot of area up here if you want to build like a little base or something. And it also does go down inside of the Coliseum. You can see you got a little just area of tunnels. Like you got a little room right here. Got a tunnel that leads you down in here. And it kind of just brings you around. It's pretty cool how they laid out this little area. It's just kind of a little exploration area. But you do have a staircase that also leads you up here. So you can go down here, enter in through here, and basically just follow your way up to this Coliseum. You even have some little like monuments here of survivors and stuff, meaning like, you know, it could have been a pretty cool backstory. Just like I wish that we had, you know, more backstories to what this stuff actually was. Yes, we have some of the dossier notes, I understand that, but it's like, I don't know, I would like to know like the story behind a lot of this stuff, if there even really is one. At 38.1 latitude and 92.1 longitude, we have the castle. Now this is part of Castle Cave, and I had to put this on this list just to show you guys what they did with this. And unfortunately, they didn't do really too much up top. I was hoping that they would have built like a giant castle or something. That was what I was really hoping for. Now they did actually make it where it's not a square box anymore. So, you know, you actually have a bit of a difference with these little outposts on the edges. They fixed it up a little bit so it does look a little bit better. But let me just show you the surrounding area without trees, just to show you it still looks pretty similar. I mean, you still have this main bridge, you got that little ruins right there, you still have the main area, except it looks more like a hotel now with the front entrance and stuff. But the side areas look pretty much the same, the back area looks almost the same, and this is the interior right here. The interior literally is identical. I don't think they changed anything about this at all. Maybe these corners, but even then, oh wow, wait, where's the staircases? They get rid of the staircases? That's, oh, okay. I don't think we have stairs anymore. Let's see if they kept this. Okay, never mind. We do still have stairs right here. Did they keep this spiral? Yeah, okay, so they kept the spiral staircase at least. So we have that, which is pretty cool. And I believe this still leads into the same area, maybe? Oh, the pattern looks a little different. Does this go? Yeah, okay, so this still leads us outside. So still have that extra, you know, entrance there. But it's just, I don't know. I wish that they did a little bit more with this, but I kind of understand it at the same time. Still have this room up top, but yeah, I don't know. Just kind of hoping for something else here. Up next, we just have the aberration entrances. Now, there are 3 to 4 different entrances, I believe, that you can find. And I have to say, these entrances look much, much different now. They completely revamped this main one. This is kind of like the longer one. It looked very dull. It didn't really look natural. This looks pretty insane. They added the wyvern rocks around here, as well as a lot of crystals. Like I said, they love crystals in this map, man. But yeah, they added a lot of stuff. They really revamped this area. And for a brand new player that comes into this zone, it's like they just entered a completely different world in here. And I think that's kind of the goal of what they were trying to do. But like, just imagine that you're a brand new player, you know, you're just walking through here and you see this for the first time. I mean, it's a lot they just toss a ton at you, but I like it a lot. I think they did a phenomenal job with this. I know I keep saying phenomenal, it's just, I have to give it to them. I mean, Valguero, they did a great job with this map. I was a little hesitant about what they were going to do with this map, but they completely just outdid it here. Next up, we have giant beaver dams. Now, Valguero is another map that actually has these, except they do look a little bit different than normal. But they were first released with Ragnarok, and Valguero as the second map to pick these up. And actually, I wish that these were on every map because they're insanely overpowered. But yeah, this is a giant beaver dam. They can usually be found in most lakes for the most part. But on Valguero, I'm not entirely sure on the full spawn range of them. But yeah, when you go in and access them, you have a lot of cementing paste. Like that's 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 full stacks of cementing paste. You got your rare flowers, pearls, mushrooms, and lots of wood. So if you're looking to farm a good amount of cementing paste, this is one of the quickest early game ways to get CP. Just know, when you get it, you're going to have a lot of beavers that are running after you. And beavers are pretty strong, so just kind of keep your distance if you can, and stay away from water because they will catch up to you. At 80.0 latitude and 16.8 longitude, you have this giant root that's just kind of poking out of the terrain. Now, when I say giant, look at the size of every single redwood tree, and then look at the size of this thing. It is definitely the biggest redwood root that we have seen, and I wonder if it kind of tells a backstory or something, like where did it come from? Is it from the Broodmother area? I mean, it's just kind of a cool little mystery that a lot of players are definitely going to overlook, but hard to overlook a root this big. Also, something cool inside of this, you actually have these little polymer plants, and they actually give you polymer when you harvest them, so yeah, just a little heads up for that. At 83.2 latitude and 88.0 longitude, you have these little ruins. Now this used to just be like this little section of it. It was kind of like an abandoned city or something, like an abandoned city of like the old times. But ARK went ahead and actually established a lot of new areas in here, including this giant just castle-ish kind of house. I don't really know what this would have been, but it has these cool little gold statues out front, which kind of symbolizes, you know, how all the gold metal nodes are all around here. They look almost identical. I kind of like that a lot. But yeah, when you first come in here, it's just kind of ruins for the most part, but you do have a staircase that can lead you up to the top level. And I mean, if you fix it up and you build a base on here, it would look pretty good, to be honest, as long as you know what you're doing. And I think this would be a pretty good location, considering you have this entire canyon area over here, as well as all the way up here with all your bridges. It's definitely a cool little task if you're looking just to kind of fix something up in the meantime. But yeah, it's for a certain kind of player, but definitely really not for me. Still though, it's cool little ruins that they have. Hopefully there's a backstory to this one as well, because it's pretty massive. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys did enjoy. Hopefully you guys were able to just find a lot of new features that you enjoyed, or a lot of new areas, a lot of new dinos, or just lots of new stuff with the map that you just want to go explore. And with Valguero technically being free, it's not going to cost you anything, so you can go on here, play the map. If you want to get some of the new paid dinos, that's completely up to you. Again, I don't support paid dinos being forced into a map, but I think that the Elderclaw was genuinely kind of a good addition. So yeah, if you guys did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like, and please hit that subscribe button. We are almost at 100,000, and it would mean the world to me. But anyways, thanks for watching.